Yeah, we're about to knock this pod out. We just got to find one thing to talk about.
Bro, the camera looks so sketch. That's so funny.
We should do it behind the scenes. You take a picture,
I'm good.
and that's the thumbnail for the reel.
That's funny.
Oh man!
So,
Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to Grow with Tony and Joe.
I'm Joe.
And I'm
It's like,
Tony.
nah, I'm Tony.
I want to start off by saying that Joe spiked my drink. That's why I'm so hyper and I can't sit still right now. I'm not really a caffeine drinker. I'm a nap guy. And you gave me a lot of caffeine.
Bro,
I'm
you
literally-
said on when I picked you up, you said, "Hey man, can we stop by a 7-Eleven? Do you know where 7-Eleven is nearby?"
That's how slumped I was.
And I said, "Nah, but maybe." And then we forgot to go stop by one
Mm-hmm.
because you wanted to get a Red Bull, which I'm very pro Red Bull. I love Red Bull.
This is going to be an energetic, very energetic pod.
Energetic for you.
Yeah.
I'm fairly energetic. Anyway, I took one of those what are they called? The
Alani?
Alani
Yeah.
packets, and I cut it in half. I didn't even give you the full thing.
Bro.
You really don't drink caffeine. That's
yeah,
hilarious.
but you know what that means? That means I'm going to crash later.
You want the other half?
Nah, I'm good
You can take it to go.
to go.
I'll put it in a water bottle.
I'll drink it raw,
You do just the powder,
just a powder.
dry scoop,
Yeah, try scoop. That's what the gym dudes do.
bro. The gym heads are crazy.
Yeah.
It's scary.
When's the
Couldn't be
when's the last time you lifted?
Bro, that's a wild question. It's been a long time. Probably sometime last year.
Should get your gains up.
Dude, I was going consistently for a while. And I was like, "Oh, Fran, we're going to work out together because I know it's good for cuz Fran used to lift a lot. And then when we got pregnant, she wasn't lifting as much. I was like, "Oh, we'll lift together." And then we moved and then everything fell apart.
Fran used to lift.
Dude, she was jacked. Jacked. Could crush you.
That's funny.
Type of jacked. Yeah, she also used to work at a gym.
Mm,
So she had a free membership to Lifetime.
this makes sense. Lifetime?
That's what I'm saying.
That's an expensive
the
one.
bougie one.
That's an expensive one. That's like my uncle. He coaches a high school basketball team, and he coaches some team, and they gave him a membership to Lifetime. And I'm like, oh, let me get a membership with you. It's like, bro, like 200.
Yeah, no, she got to go for free.
Wow.
So I mean, low key, I might be jacked too. If I got a free membership to Lifetime.
You're jacked adjacent.
I don't even know if that's the case. I'm like runner jacked.
I'm trying to use your terminology. You always say adjacent.
I do. I think it's funny.
That's funny.
There's some people at work that I'm not their supervisor, but I am basically their supervisor. So I'm like, oh, I'm your supervisor adjacent.
You're super adjacent.
Super Jace. Okay. Anyways, so what do you want to talk about for real, other than spiking your drink?
I don't know. I didn't.
You don't have any topics?
No.
I got a question for you. What is the significance of what kind of music you listen to? Because I feel like when you started building a relationship with God, right? You changed what you were listening to.
A lot. Like that was that was the biggest change.
Really?
That was like, I was at the
Not
point
your
when,
spirit come to life?
yeah, when I used to listen to a lot of let's just name top 5. Like before I got saved, it was like NBA YoungBoy, Lil Uzi, Young Thug, Future, Central C. It's all literally all the hip hop, all the stuff like that. And when I got saved and I realized that this stuff was not I couldn't listen to anymore, I was like, I'm just not gonna listen to music at all. Cause
And you gave up?
yeah, you got to think I didn't grow up with in a church household, so I didn't know worship music and I didn't know people who actually make music about God. But then I started doing my research, and it's actually my little brother who put me on this one dude that was a Christian artist, a Christian rapper. His name's L'Oreal Seeks Christ, and my little brother put me on, and after that I did all my research and I found a lot of music. Now I have 8 hours or 9 hours of
Dang.
a whole 9-hour, 8-hour playlist of
And most Christian rap songs aren't that long.
no, they're not. They're 2 minutes, average.
That's wild. What's your? Oh, we already talked about your favorites. I need to edit that clip together from last week of us playing our favorite.
Mhm.
We got flagged because you played the song so long in the mic.
That's funny.
But no, I think it's a really significant thing. I remember learning this when I was a student, when I was probably middle school, high school,
Mm-hmm.
about the eye gate and the ear gate, and how like your soul has entry points, and really it's any of your senses. So you could really go through just about any way. But
And when, oh, my bad.
oh no,
I'm
go
about
ahead.
to cut you off. No, go ahead.
I was,
Finish your thought.
I was gonna say like what you watch and what you listen to drops into your soul very directly. I think what you feel too, but that's a little bit different.
I agree because, bro, the music we used to listen to in high school was so like, that's when like we listened to like DMV music and like trappers in DC and stuff like that. And it's like, bro, all they would talk about is like violence.
Mm.
And that made us like, me and my group of friends, like violent for no reason or prideful for no reason. It's like I could see how the music was, even the people around me that listen to that music, it kind of like feeds your identity of like, I'm a violent person, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna do this, or I'm gonna whatever,
Yeah.
tote guns and all that nonsense.
Dang.
And like that, my music changed when I changed,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. And it's like you could just see it. Like that's why I would never listen, like I can't listen to music no more, because all the music I used to listen to was like drugs, guns, sex, whatever. And it's like I kind of started to build that identity because of what I was listening to.
Mm. So, what about like other forms of input? Like talk about movies or TV shows or YouTube or TikTok or social media, and then like even other people, like because the people you hang around, it's like it's 3D TV because it's real life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Movies. I was a big movie guy. I'm a really big movie guy. Like I used to want to like go to school for film and stuff like that,
Did you
and
really?
like watch movies. And I was a really big, like I knew all the actors, all the
Mm.
stuff like that. And I used to like my humor. I got a lot of my humor from movies, like like I'm not gonna shout these movies out, but like raunchy, like stupid comedy movies. And
Mhm.
like I can't watch those anymore. And it's like those things are like the same things that I used to enjoy like a lot. Like I would say these are my favorite movies. To me now they're just so distasteful.
Hmm.
You know, they leave a bad taste in my mouth, in my spirit, and everything.
Yeah, dude, it's wild how God kind of changes that,
Mm-hmm.
and He like ruins sin for you. I was talking to somebody else about this recently, but it's like the things that you used to enjoy are just like this is not it, because your soul knows. It's so interesting. It's like it's like your soul almost develops an allergy or a sensitivity
Yeah.
that you didn't have before, and now it's like it gets inflamed and agitated. It's like whoa, like don't bring this crap here. Like we don't want this. You know what I mean? It's so wild though, because I feel like for a long time Christian hip hop was not in a spot where I was like, oh yeah, I want to listen to this.
Really?
Yeah, I mean it wasn't bad. It wasn't the ratio of quality Christian hip hop has gone up dramatically. Like you hear some new artists and you're like, oh wow, this is pretty fresh. Like this is good,
Mm-hmm.
right? Back when I was, I don't know, listening to music, like there were some good people, but it was not like you were finding new artists on the regular. It was not like you were finding like they were dropping consistently.
Mm-hmm.
You really were like listening to the same like 4 albums for a while.
Wow. I kind of like the message that shows, because now, bro, there's Christian artists that use the street slang, that talk about like their life and stuff like that. And it's like these are the people that God saved. Like they were once in the streets, they were once like living that life. And like I like how God touches everybody, you know? And
Yeah.
that just them making music is a testimony alone, like
Yeah.
the change
So
and what they're talking about.
so what are you gonna create? Because like God gives us this ability to like see a future and create it, and it's up to us to go in and actually like do something with like what He's given us. Um, so what do you want to create? Because now you've got this freedom, this life, right? What are you gonna go and make?
I think I'm still working on that. I don't know yet.
Wait, you think you'll be a rapper?
No. I cannot be a rapper.
TB, Tony on the beat.
Being a rapper doesn't seem as fun. It doesn't seem like,
I don't know if I could be a rapper. It's too much.
yeah. What do you want to create?
I'm doing it.
You're doing the pod?
Doing the pod. I also want to public speak more. I actually got an opportunity. I got invited to go speak at a school, a Christian school.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's
So
good.
I'm probably gonna I'll do that. But I love public speaking. I think it's a lot of fun. Like just to have those conversations with people.
I think I'm more one on one. I'm
Yeah.
very like I've seen a lot of I've seen me like interact. I don't know how to say it. Like I've seen me make a difference in someone's life through like one on one conversations. Like I'm not really like the public speaker or the
Mm-hmm.
one that talks to the group of people. I'm very like I have like I'm really well at like one on one
Yeah, yeah. Like those individual
interactions. Yeah.
conversations. I get that. Your decisions obviously impact the world that you step into tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And so the question is like, okay, what decisions are you going to make? Right? And then there's things that you intentionally almost create. And then but there's also a whole bunch of things that like you may not physically see it, but you're creating as well. So like I think about this a lot as like the creation of the soul space, right? What's the relational dynamic between you and me? What's the relational dynamic between me and my wife, between me and a student, between me and whoever, right? Because that's also being created. And so a lot of people are constructing things that they probably like. I said something the other day that was so wild. I said we were talking about spending your time and how you spend your time and stuff like that. And I was talking about social media. I said, hey, if you're spending your time on social media and your life is probably primarily made up of two things, it's made up of your time and your energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's your life. And you're spending a ton of time on something that's not giving you any return, then you're effectively wasting your life because you're wasting your time, you're wasting your energy, and you're essentially wasting your life. And I thought it was really interesting because people have a high value for money a lot of times. I said, if time is money, are you okay with burning money? Oh, this is what it was. If time is money, would you still burn it?
Mm-hmm.
Because like a lot of people burn their time scrolling. They burn their time watching all this content. They burn their time doing some things that really aren't. Yeah, there's a certain space for like pleasure and joy and enjoying things, right? But if time is really money, are you okay with burning it? Because
Mm-hmm.
we watch a lot of people do that. And I just think it's interesting because people will, although you may not always be creating something physical, you're always creating. You're creating in the relational, you're creating in the character of who you are, you're creating in your relationship with God. And a lot of times because we're not intentional about creating something, we create nothing.
That's like a dilemma that I recently ran into. Like I used to have a lot of activities I used to like waste my time on, and then I had to take a step back. And every time I leave, like when I sit down and read a book that I'm interested in or that's helping me grow, or even like the Bible, I can get up and say, "Hey, I left with something valuable."
Mm-hmm.
But like I'm a really big like growing up, I was a really big gamer, and like recently I tried to get back into like playing video games to like spend time with my family. And when I left with I would spend time with my family. That's the only thing I got out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything else was unsatisfying. Like I just left like, hey, I just wasted like hours where I could have been in the gym, where I could have been reading, where I could have been even investing in a relationship, like a specific one.
Yeah.
And like you have to like have that kind of discernment. Like I had to like throw away my Xbox. Not throw it away, but like put away my Xbox like, hey, this is not
Yeah.
benefiting me at this point.
So how do you find the line between like this is helpful for building a relationship or this is helpful for just relaxing? And where's the line where it crosses from like this is doing good to this is doing harm?
I don't know, cause I did the same thing with social media. Like
Mm-hmm.
there was one point where I used to scroll and scroll and scroll, and it's like I got rid of all my social media, but I don't know where it was like. It got to the point where it was like all consuming,
Mm-hmm.
like it was like consuming. Like I would get off and not even know where any of the time went.
Yeah, yeah. And you don't know what you watched or like where you were.
I don't know. It's like you have to have a like certain level of discernment. Like
Yeah.
once it starts, I don't know. Where do you think?
I think there's it kind of crosses over when oh dude, last weekend I forgot to water the plants. That's why that one looks so bad.
Uh-oh.
All our plants are dying. I'm not good at keeping them alive. I think it's a line where you're trying to like avoid something else. Or you're trying, right? And I think that is very interesting. It's a line where you're trying to avoid something else, and I think in part sometimes you avoid, whether it's avoiding getting a picture of the future that you want to create, or you're avoiding a responsibility that you already have either given to you by someone else or asked to you by whatever, or maintaining the life that you already have, or stepping into creating that vision that you feel like you've been given that you need to go create. Because I find that there's a certain level of refreshment where it's like, okay, cool, like I'm gonna watch an episode of this TV show. Like this is I just finished a show called Brother Sons, right? Brother Son, that's what it was. Very funny, kind of violent. Not necessarily gonna say it's the best show in the world. If you're, yeah, it doesn't matter. But I really enjoyed that show. It was great, right? But I knew that if I watched one episode, I was good. I was like, oh, cool, I'm enjoying my show, right? When I started to cross into 2, there was other things I needed to get done, right? And there were times where I watched 2. I'm not gonna lie, right? But most of the time I would try to be like, all right, I'm gonna do 1 and then I'm gonna go, or like maybe I'm not going to bed, instead I'm staying up. It's like, okay, no, you're actually avoiding a responsibility, which is to get rest so that you can be effective the next day, or you're avoiding whatever it may be. And sometimes it's just in the pursuit of pleasure. I remember my therapist telling me this is like, people can kind of get addicted to novelty, or they get addicted to the new thing, right? And it's not even about necessarily the fact that it's enjoyable, right? You can almost get addicted to this idea of pleasure, or you can get addicted to finding new pleasure. And it's very, very kind of a dangerous space to live in, because I think that's where a lot of people live in. That's why they scroll and scroll and scroll, because they're addicted to finding the new funny thing or the new engagement, or right? So anyway, because I'm such a sucker, dude. I'm such a sucker for doom scrolling. That's why like I don't have social media, because like I'll even be on like Fran's phone like trying to post something, and then I start I'm scrolling. I'm like, oh my gosh, like 10 minutes already went by. I'm like, dude, what am I doing?
Bro, I had to delete social media because it used to like, I don't know, make me like depressed, bro. Like the amount of time I spent like just scrolling, and then you get up and you're like, bro, what did I just do? Like I didn't get any output out of that. Like I didn't benefit from that at all. And it was like too many times where I had that and I was like, hey, this is not helping me.
Yeah. It's actually just hurting you.
And it's funny because the culture is like, bro, I'm to people, I'm weird. Like, oh, you don't have social media, you don't have YouTube, you don't have this and that. I'm like, bro, like, how is that? It may benefit others because, like, YouTube information, stuff like that. But it's like,
bro, the YouTube Shorts will get you.
Bro, YouTube Shorts is low key like addictive.
Bro, I be putting our stuff out on YouTube Shorts and on Instagram and on TikTok.
That's the YouTube Shorts was the one, like the last, like because YouTube was the last one I had to kind of like
cut out.
Yeah, cut out.
Yeah, dude. If you wanna progressively move in that direction, first you gotta get rid of TikTok. TikTok is sketchy, bro. You be getting some wild stuff. I had a friend tell me that he saw a literal video of someone dying
on TikTok
before it got flagged.
TikTok's terrible.
Yeah, bro. It's crazy. Oh, hey, I'm no social media hater. I'm obviously on it, right? Like in the sense that like we're posting, like people are like, "Oh, I love the pod," and I'm like, "Oh, have you watched the episode?" They're like, "No, I just watched the shorts." I'm like, "All right, wow, thanks, thanks, I appreciate that," but it's not quite the full expression.
I'm crashing.
Should we put this one out already?
I don't know. Not really.
Should we put this one out? Do you feel like it was good?
I feel like it was so. I'm talking so fast.
Really? Not really.
Really?
Yeah, dude. I talk faster than you. What are you trying to figure out?
What to talk about?
No. In life, what are you trying to learn right now?
Me, building my character, and building one part of that is building patience. That's one thing that's like, patience is so important, and that's one thing that I never even thought about. But now I'm starting to realize like my lack of patience is not beneficial for me. It gets me into a lot of bad situations, because I jumped the gun a lot. Or like we were having a conversation earlier that you're like, I take shortcuts, and I do. Like I'm just trying to get it done because I don't feel like doing it anymore. I'm not patient. Like when I'm doing something, say for example, I'm at a place for 8 hours, and you give me a task to do for that 8 hours. I'm gonna try to finish that task as fast as possible. But maybe I need to utilize the whole 8 hours. You know what I mean? like stepping into that mindset. Like if you give me 8 hours to do a task and I can do it in 4, I'm gonna do it in 4, rather than taking the time to do it in 8 hours. But if I took the 8 hours, then say for example, if I'm painting, the paint job will look nice, or I rush a lot of things.
Yeah, the word that's kind of coming to my mind is like being like a craftsman, of like intentionally like crafting or built or developing something.
Like I'm trying to. The big one I'm facing is I'm trying to excel in life, like build my life, and I want what I want to build. I want it right now. I don't want to take time. I want to shortcut everything. Like, what's the fastest way to get to from here to here? But maybe it's like I'm starting to have this mindset of, if I get there fast, it's not gonna be as stable. Yeah. But if I take time and do the process and take time in it and let it build, then I will get there and it'll be stable.
Yeah. So it's almost like this idea of like, can you craft your life versus can you just like, I don't know, jerry rig or like shortcut your life? Can you like really craft who you are and who you're becoming and developing all that versus like shortcutting it? Because I'm actually very similar. Like it's just because I get bored of things easily. Like I got tired of them, and I'm already like there's a part of me even with this podcast where I'm like, Joe, you need to craft it, you need to develop it. Like you don't need to have it all right now. Like, hey, right now you're just getting the posting consistent, you're getting some of the look consistent, right? And in 2-3 months, yeah, then you can have the website, then you can have the connection to whatever, then you can. So I'm like, all right, Joe, like, yeah, push hard, but like craft it well, build it well, so that you don't need to go back and rebuild it, or you don't need to go back and say sorry, or you don't need to go back and be like, this isn't really what I wanted.
I think that's a good phrase for someone to go home with. Like, you don't need to have it all right now. That's something that I battle every single day. Every single day when I wake up, I battle like, hey, you don't need to have it all right now. You don't need to have it all today.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to get there. Just be patient.
Have you prayed for patience?
Yeah.
What did God do?
I actually prayed I prayed for like God. I asked God like what's the flaws in my character, like, because I know God he wants to bless me, but maybe I don't have the character for the blessings that he has for me. And I'm like, God, what's the flaw in my character? And that's one he's really highlighting through people, through like my own experiences. Like, one he's really highlighting is like, hey, you need patience.
That's wild.
Like, if you go around the people who are closest to me and ask like, hey, what's one flaw in Anthony's character, they would all probably say patience. That would be the one that would come.
It's interesting because patience is like a byproduct of having God in your life, right? Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control.
It's a fruit of the Spirit.
Yeah. Byproduct of having God in your life.
What's one thing you think you need to work on, like, in your character?
Faithfulness, probably. That I like stick with it. I feel like I will bail on things, or like I don't deliver it, or I don't deliver it in a timely manner. Like I'm not faithful to the best of my ability to the commitment. And there's specific areas that I'm more faithful than others, but I think I need to become more faithful to stewarding like a lot of the opportunities or space that I'm getting in my life. Like a lot of times I wrestle with this tension between like time and effort and stuff like that. And like, okay, Joe, you literally don't have the time to put full effort into everything. So everything can't matter the most. But I think something I really need to do is zero down on what things really matter, and then put my time into that. And I have a hard time when I feel like I'm being asked to put priority on something when I feel like I might actually have a different priority internally. And I've heard it described as like, that's an obligation. You have an obligation to fulfill this, but it's not actually your highest priority. And so this happens like at work or in other areas where I'm like, oh, no, this is what I'm being obligated to do, almost like asked to do. And while it may be important to me, it's not the highest priority. And so making sure that I'm really clarifying that. And the more that, like, especially as we're expecting Magnolia soon, like our daughter, Fran and I, and me specifically, I'm like, okay, Joe, you got to trim the fat off your life. Like, you really got to find the areas that are not as your max priority, your highest priority, and then drive to other things. I take all that energy and shift it over. And I really hate that I can't do everything that I want to do because you just can't. But I've got stuff that it's tough. So, yeah.
I hope we figure it out. Both of us.
Hey, maybe we can check in. We can check in on the pod and be like, how are we doing with patience? How are you doing with faithfulness?
What's one practical thing that you're doing right now that works on your faithfulness?
I'm kind of picking specific commitments that I'm like, I will do this, right? Like I will figure it out no matter what. So for example, right now the podcast is one of those. Like from a commitment side, like I've started this before. I've done a few episodes here and there. I've recorded episodes and just never released them.
Mm-hmm.
And right now I'm kind of in a spot where I'm like, no, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do it right. And I'm going to make it happen. And so that's something that I really, am like challenging myself with. Cause I feel like I had a moment with God that I feel like he really challenged me. And I was like, all right, I'm going to do it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's one. That's the really practical one. I think there's other things that I'm still trying to work out. And I think I need to narrow down, like find like the 5 buckets that I'm like, I will follow through with these to the absolute. And then other things is just like one of the things about us, Fran and I, is like, you know what? We're doing a lot of stuff. And if our house isn't always perfectly clean, it's okay. Mm-hmm. I know that should probably be a higher value. And our house isn't like disgusting, but it's messy, all right? And we clean, we take care of it, but it's like, why? Because we've got other things that we're working on driving. It's not that we're lazy, we're working on other things, mm-hmm. right? And so then whatever it may be. So it's kind of like figuring out what are the things that are your highest priority and then driving those in for me. What about you? Practical way of growing patience.
Identifying the situations in my life where I tend to jump the gun. So, or I'm a really big, like, if something doesn't happen on my time, it'll frustrate me. Like if I tell you, hey, I'm going to pick you up at whatever, 5:30 and you're not ready. Like if I'm there at 5:30 and you're not ready, like coming out the door, I'll be frustrated. Or that's like a little example. Or like,
it's funny because I'll pick you up and you're not out right as soon as I get there. But I also show up late a lot.
And if like I say I ask somebody to do something, right? I think respecting other people's time too. I don't think I have respect for other people's time, because I'll ask somebody to do something and I'll be like, hey, can you do this for me? And then they're not like, yeah, I'm gonna do it right now. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, what do you have going on that's
more important than me?
Yeah, like but that's like, this is kind of revealing, but that's something I have a problem with, especially with like hugely with my mom. So it's like, that's something that I'm really starting to realize and really trying to like fix, like really trying to work on. Like I'm trying to, when I ask somebody to do something and they're like, oh, can I, like, I'll do it later, I'm like, okay. And then I sit in like my frustration. I'm like, why? Like, just wait and it's gonna happen, you know?
Yeah. Like they said they would do it. Just give it a second.
Yeah.
Relax.
Like I have to really like I think it's being very intentional in those situations.
Yeah.
Like I've identified them. So now that I've identified them, when they show up, I can be intentional in working on and exercising my patience.
Yeah.
Like all of those are opportunities for me to work on my patience since I've identified them now.
Yeah. No, I feel like what we said this during the week is like life is a gym, but most people don't want to exercise. Mm-hmm. Right? Like any moment. No, well, it's because you were saying like, man, I ask God for patience and he's given me a ton of opportunities to be patient.
Yeah.
But like, and that's the truth, is like, for your character, life is a gym. It's just whether or not you'll actually step in and exercise and work out to try to like get to the level of whatever that you feel like you need to.
Yeah. And I like that analogy because it's hard. Like right now it's hard. Like it's like I sit in a lot of frustration when these situations occur, but I know later in life, as I keep working out, bro, when I first started working out, 100 pounds was hard. Yeah. I was weak. I was a scrawny 16-year-old, But now, like, I'm at the point where 100 pounds is lightweight.
Yeah.
You know, so eventually, like, these situations are going to be lightweight. These situations I'm going to be able to sit in with peace and sit in with patience.
Yeah, yeah. And just
As
kind of,
long as I keep exercising it. And it
yeah.
hurts sometimes, but
No, that's true.
yeah.
Yeah, I think same with faithfulness. Like right now, it's tough because I'm like, oh crap, I got to get this post out. I got to edit this. I got to do whatever. Or I'm waking up early or I'm staying up late. And it's like someday this is going to be like following through on things isn't going to be as hard because it's going to be like, no, I have a system for making the commitment and I will have a system for following through.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Like dude, I like broke a commitment earlier this morning because I forgot it was early in the morning and I didn't wake up in time. And I was like so upset with myself. And like one of my things that I need to work on is like self-loathing, where like self-pity is like, why is this happening to me? Self-loathing is like, why am I such a problem?
Mm-hmm.
And I fall into self-loathing a lot where I'm like, I'm the problem. I'm messing everything up. Like, why can't I get it right? And it's like, all right, Joe, like you could either self-loathe or you could work to get better, but you can't really do both.
Mm-hmm.
So figure it out. Like, yeah, feel bad for a second, then get up and keep figuring it out. Because like the people around you deserve the best version of you.
I was just thinking, like, I love the analogy of the gym. I love that God allowed that to be an analogy because he created muscles, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for muscles to grow, the old muscles have to literally get destroyed so new muscle fibers can grow.
Yeah.
Stronger muscle fibers can grow. It's like the old muscle fibers like have to be destroyed, and like God's very intentional with everything. So he knew, like, I don't know, he knew that we would use that as an analogy for growing other things other than our physical body.
Yeah. Because everything that
And
grows really dies.
and for your muscle fibers to like be destroyed, you have to hurt. Like it hurts to work. It hurts to work out. Like when I'm squatting, when I'm benching, anything, it hurts.
Yeah.
And you have to like push through. You have to push. You have to intentionally hurt yourself. Not like in that way, but intentionally go through pain.
Yeah. Yeah.
To grow.
No pain, no gain.
that is a saying. Yeah. So when you start to work on your character, there's gonna be painful moments in working on your character. But at the end of the day, it's gonna allow stronger muscles to stronger character muscles. I'd put up air quotes, but stronger character muscles to grow is gonna allow them to grow.
Yeah. And if you don't do it, you forfeit the growth.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
Well, I gotta go.
Yeah. This ended great.
Yeah, this was a good pod.
This is Grow with
Tony and Joe.
Tony and Joe.
Peace. Dang, we synced up. That's funny.